I'm Reborn. I traveled back to the day when Han Shui's mother waved a 500,000 RMB bank card right in my face. In my past life, I stomped on the bank card and yelled, "True love is priceless." But all I got was a contemptuous sneer on her lips, and the disgusted look in Han Shui's eyes. To be good enough for Han Shui, I bet everything I had on it. I worked my ass off for scholarships in college. I joined her family's company after graduation, starting from the lowest level employee. I worked harder than anyone else. Other people work 9 to 5, I worked 24/7. Later, the Han family's company ran into a crisis. It was me who, with my relentless work ethic and sharp business sense, secured the critical investment and pulled the company back from the brink of bankruptcy. I thought I'd be a hero to the Han family and could rightfully marry Han Shui as my wife. But what waited for me was a total physical breakdown. Long-term irregular routines and high-intensity work had caused countless health issues for me. When I collapsed for the last time, the doctor told me I had terminal cancer and only had a few days left to live. It was also at that time Han Shui came to see me with Li Hai. There was no more usual concern in Han Shui's eyes, only a sense of relieved ease. Li Hai made no effort to hide his pride. He put his arm around Han Shui's waist, looked down at me and said, "Thanks, Chen Yu. The company is very stable now. Xiao Xu and I are getting engaged next month." Han Shui leaned into his arms and said softly, "Don't blame me, Chen Yu. My mom was right. We were never from the same world. Turns out the life I fought so hard for was just nothing more than a completely exploited tool that got kicked to the curb in the end. In this life, I don't want to be that pathetic simp anymore." I took the bank card right away, with a bright smile on my face. "Okay, Auntie, I'll definitely get far away from here." It was the first time that Lin Fangqing's face showed a shocked, cracked expression. She had rehearsed countless possible scenarios, but never expected me to react like this. I stared at the thin bank card in her hand, my eyes lighting up with excitement. That wasn't an ordinary bank card. It was a ticket to my new life. It was a nail to bury my past. I was scared she'd change her mind and snatch the bank card right from her fingertips. To make it more convincing, I even added on my own initiative. "Don't worry, I'll not only leave Han Shui, I'll also resign from the company and disappear from this city. I'll change all my contact information and make sure Han Shui never finds me in her life. Is that okay with you, Auntie?" Lin Fangqing was completely stunned. She opened her mouth. All the lines she had prepared were all stuck in her throat. She couldn't say a single word. She looked at me like I was a freak. I can understand that, after all, just yesterday, I was still doing everything to make Han Shui happy. I rode a shared bike for over half an hour in pouring rain, just to buy her an internet-famous cake that she mentioned offhand once. When I arrived downstairs at her place, I was soaked from head to toe, like a drowned rat, but Han Shui only poked her head out of the car window, took the cake, and gave me a disgusted look. "Chen Yu, why are you looking so messy?" At that time, that man named Li Hai was sitting in the driver's seat, with his hand on the steering wheel, looking at me with a faint smirk. His eyes were full of mockery and pity, like he was looking at a dog that was wagging its tail like crazy to please its owner. At that moment, what rose in my heart wasn't grievance, but endless sadness. Then I smiled a little, took my wallet out of my pocket, and pulled a photo out of it. It was a picture of Han Shui and me. This was once my most treasured belonging. In front of Lin Fangqing, I tore the photo in half without hesitation and threw it into the trash can next to me. Then I took out all the things related to Han Shui from my wallet, including the cheap keychain she gave me, took them all out, and threw them all in too. "See, Auntie? To show my sincerity, I don't want any of these things anymore. Are you relieved now?" After I left the coffee shop, the first thing I did was go to the bank. Looking at the balance shown on the ATM, 501,354 RMB, I let out a long sigh of relief. That extra 1,354 yen was all the savings I had scraped together in my past life. Ridiculous and pathetic. I took out 10,000 yen in cash without hesitation, shoved it into my pocket. Then I headed to my most familiar spot downstairs of the Han group. I didn't go inside. Instead, I sat on the bench across the street, staring quietly at that grand office building. In my past life, I saw this place as my battlefield and where I belonged. I used to pour all my sweat here, pulled countless all-nighters. I was also once high-spirited here, thinking I had my future in my hands. Looking at it now, I was nothing but a easily replaceable part in this building, a fool who worked hard just to benefit others. My phone vibrated once. It was a WeChat message from Han Shui. "Chen Yu, did my mom come to see you?" Don't listen to her. That's just how she is. Wait for me. I'll come see you tonight. We need to have a good talk. Another message came right after. I bought your favorite pan-fried pork buns. They're fresh out of the pan. I'll bring them to you tonight. I stared at the texts on the screen. My stomach churned. Same old familiar PUA trick. Slap you first, then give you a candy. Using a little bit of cheap affection to make you think she actually cares about you, and work your ass off for her wholeheartedly. In my past life, she had me completely wrapped around her finger. Whenever she was even a little nice to me, I would be overwhelmingly moved, then work even harder, hoping to prove to her that her choice wasn't wrong. Now I just feel disgusted. I tapped on her profile picture and hit delete contact without hesitation. After doing all that, I got up and walked into a nearby phone shop to get a new phone number. Then I took a taxi back to my tiny rental apartment. The place wasn't big, but I kept it very clean. There was still a photo of Han Jae and I posted on the wall, and books she gave me on the bookshelf. With a blank face, I gathered all items related to her and dug them out one by one and put them into a big garbage bag. Photos were torn up. Love letters were burned. Her cheap gifts were thrown away. When I picked up the last item with her, smiling face on the photo frame, and threw it into the bag, I felt completely relaxed, like I'd lifted a heavy shackle I'd carried for decades. I turned on my computer and typed up my resignation letter. No long speeches, just a few short lines. Dear management, I, Chen Yu, voluntarily apply for resignation, hope for approval, effective immediately. No need to settle my salary. I don't want their measly salary anyway. I just want to cut ties completely with this place and all the people here as soon as possible. I sent the resignation letter to the HR manager and my direct supervisor's email. I turned off my computer and lifted the already prepared suitcase. There were only a few changes of clothes and all my documents inside. As for all the other stuff in the apartment, I don't want any of it. Consider it a simple funeral for my stupid past life. I dragged my suitcase and walked out without looking back. Of this rental apartment full of humiliating memories. When I was going downstairs, I saw a familiar figure. It was Han Shui. She was holding a bag of pan-fried pork buns, looking around anxiously downstairs. When she saw me come out with a suitcase, she froze for a second, then quickly walked towards me. Chen Yu, where are you going? There was a hint of questioning in her tone. I didn't stop walking, didn't even glance at her, and walked straight past her. She reached out to grab me. I leaned aside to avoid her and stared at her coldly. This was the first time I looked at her properly since my rebirth. She was still as pretty as ever, wearing delicate makeup, but in my eyes, under that beautiful skin, was nothing but selfishness, hypocrisy, and malice. What are you doing? I'm talking to you. Hanja saw I was ignoring her and got a little annoyed. Are you mad because my mom came to see you? That's why you're angry. I already told you. Just ignore her. I'll talk to her about it. And where are you going with that suitcase? Are you running away from home? How childish are you? Her tone was full of that condescending, patronizing charity vibe, like I was supposed to center all my emotions around her. She will never understand what it's like to be another person. I stared at her and suddenly smiled. Han Shui, aren't you curious what your mom told me? I pulled that bank card out of my pocket and waved it in front of her. Your mom gave me 500,000 yen. To leave you? Han Shu's face dropped right away. She hurried to explain. Chen Yu, don't take that seriously. I cut her off. I did take it seriously. I took the money and promised her I'd get the hell out of your lives. Han Shu's face flushed bright red. Half from anger, half from embarrassment. She probably never thought I'd bring this kind of deal. Out in the open so bluntly, in her eyes, I should be ashamed of myself. I should feel insulted. How can you talk about her like that? That's her money, Chen Yu. Is our relationship only worth 500 grand to you? She questioned me with a heartbroken, furious look. I stared at her like she was the biggest joke alive. Relationship? Han Shui? Did we ever even have a relationship? The so-called relationship you talk about is just you taking all my kindness for granted. Working my ass off for your family's company, then turning around and messing around with other guys in luxury cars. The so-called relationship you talk about is also telling me you love me while plotting how to legally take over everything I've slaved my whole life to build after I work myself to death. My voice wasn't loud, but every single word was like a cold knife stabbing right into Han Shui's heart. Her face went from flushed red to deathly pale. What are you talking about? I never did that. Her eyes darted around nervously, too scared to look at me. I let out a cold laugh. You never did that, Han Shui. You can stop acting now. You know exactly what kind of person you are. You know it in your bones. And now I know it too. As for this 500 grand, I don't think it's payment to end our relationship. It's more like the pay for all the years I've worked. Like a dog for your family. It's a little less than I deserve, but it's better than nothing. After all, you guys never thought my life was worth much anyway, right? After saying that, I didn't look at her pale face again. I grabbed my suitcase and turned to leave. Stop right there. Explain yourself first. Do you know something? I didn't turn around. I know everything. I know all your plans. I know the loopholes in the company and what's coming for you. I know you're gonna fall right from the top of the world and smash into a million pieces, and I'll be the one standing, at the very top, watching coldly as it happens. I hailed a taxi and headed straight for the airport. The city I've lived in for years was fading further and further behind me. I took out my new phone and booked a flight to Xishuangbanna. No particular reason. I just wanted to go somewhere warm, where I could completely relax. Starting today, I'm gonna live for myself. As for Han Shui and all the mess connected to her, let them rot in the past. The phone vibrated once. It was a text from an unknown number. Chen Yu, where the hell are you? Explain yourself before you leave. Did you get the wrong idea about something? Lehigh and I are just friends. I looked at the text, the sneer on my face growing wider. Just friends. The kind of friend that plots to drain me dry and take everything I have after I die. I blocked the number, then turned off my phone. Outside the window, the sun was slowly setting, painting the sky a gorgeous orange red. A new life has begun. The air in Xishuangbanna is warm and humid, with a mixed scent of plants and soil. I found a homestay hidden among thick tropical plants to stay in. When I open the window, all I see is green. I did nothing on the first day. I just slept in my room, slept from morning to night, then slept through the night till the next morning, like I was making up for all the sleep I've missed. My whole previous life. When I woke up, I felt like I was reborn. The deep, bone deep exhaustion was completely gone. I turned on my old phone that had been off for ages. As soon as I turned it on, loads of texts and missed call notifications came flooding in like a tide.